Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Niall with the Pop XP. And you may or may not know this, but November of 2022 was kind of a big month. And especially the 23rd day of the month. That's because a new publisher premiered that hit the shelves of our comic shops. And that publisher happens to be Frank Miller Presents. And they didn't just debut one comic book. No. They debuted two. That's right. Ronin Book 2 Issue 1 and Ancient Enemies Issue 1. But before I get into all this, make sure to look below, click that subscribe button, and smash the bell so you get notifications when we go live and we upload awesome new content. And if you like this video, I hope you hit that like button and share it out because we want to spread the word of all these great books. Ancient Enemies is written by former DC publisher Dan DiDio, design and art by Danilo Beyruth, and guess what? Frank Miller makes his presence known as the variant cover artist for issue number 1. Now, the premise of this 6-issue miniseries is Earth becomes the final battlefield for a centuries-old war between two alien races. But this final conflict becomes the unintentional breeding ground for a new generation of superpowers, each with the ability to influence the outcome of the war. Some superpowers choose sides, while others struggle to maintain their independence with the hope of saving Earth. After reading this book, I was in awe. The character development, the storytelling, everything is top-notch. It's something you would expect from a Frank Miller Presents book. And I mean, come on, if Frank's slapping his name on that baby, you know this book is gonna be good. And believe me, folks, it is. The artwork by Danilo Beyruth is phenomenal. The paneling layouts really capture the director's eye. There are a few double-page spreads that really help capture the essence of the storytelling. Now, you pair that with Dan DiDio's script, and this book is seamless through and through. Now, I know what you may be thinking, first issue of a comic book series? I mean, they're not always that exciting, but this one is. They're giving you 64 pages. They're able to deliver that great character development, seamless story transition, cutscenes, action, all in the first issue. Trust me, you're gonna be begging for more. I want my copy now. Dan, please send me, I need issue 2. I do want to mention that if you haven't read the book, my review will have some spoilers, so at this moment you may want to leave. Otherwise, please enjoy as we dive into this book. The book opens with the military discovering that their sensors have picked up a temporal disturbance in what appears to be a tear in the fabric of space. Here is a great example of one of their double-page spreads that's showing the panic of this dire situation. We then cut to the utopian city of Americana, and we're a news broadcaster describing how perfect the day is and how 20 years ago the United States closed its borders to rebuild after the catastrophic events of the alien attack. Again, another great double-page spread that is showing the vast city and how perfect and utopian it is. Now, across the Celestial Skyway Bridge, we're seeing glimpses of Citadel City where the sky is no longer blue and we have this orange smog in the air, protesters are rallying, things aren't looking too good, and this is the point where we meet our first main character, Rosemary Reed. We see here that Rosemary has some type of suit. Is she a hero, a villain? Is it even hers? This is what's great about the storytelling in this book. Images are shown almost like Easter eggs. You know they're relevant, but the author hasn't explained why yet. This is common throughout the book, and I love it. Now, as with most characters, there are conflicts. Rosemary and her son do not see eye to eye on things within Citadel City. It's clear now that she must play a major role here, and her son doesn't feel she is doing her best to improve the well-being of this city. However, we see that she hasn't given up on her city, and it's her conversation with Simon Love, the head of her former company, Reed Enterprises, that she has always chose the people over the work. Now, it's here that I'll mention that if it wasn't for the hard work of the Citadel people, Americana would never be, and this is the driving force to all the tension. Now we head to the city of Americana where we meet our second main character, Morgan Bonney, the leader of the greater good, who appears to have the biggest influence in the city, and in my opinion, she runs things like a propaganda machine. While Morgan is speaking among the crowds, the rioting on the bridge is turning violent. Now, this is a great 10-panel page showing the buildup of the violence on the bridge from the rioters. So Morgan's team is dispatched to dissolve this situation. This is where we meet a few of her supers, Big Sister with the ability to grow to many different sizes, Mr. Gruntle, the empath who tries to control the crowd with emotions, but is overwhelmed by the vast amounts of different emotions coming from the rioters. And Racer Girl, who appears to be the roughneck of the group that wants to give everyone the beatdown. It's during the scuttle that we see Rosemary emerge as she attempts to travel over the bridge for reasons unknown yet. Let me just say, Rosemary is a badass. She single-handedly takes out the Greater Good team, and it's safe to assume the riot has been diffused. While this is going on, Dan DiDio again does a great job weaving another element to the story. We cut to a ferry that is transporting people to Americana, and as a potential deadly situation occurs, a Good Samaritan helps unbeknownst to the people involved. Now at this point you're intrigued at who this character could be, and Dan keeps us waiting. Just as quick as we meet the Hooded Samaritan, we cut back to Rosemary, who's attending a party hosted by Morgan Bonney, and now we know why she was on that bridge. When they first meet, you think heads are about to roll, but really they are old friends, or should I now say frenemies? Rosemary is hoping they can meet on even ground to see if they can agree on ways Americana can assist with resources to improve the lives of those in the Citadel City. After all, if it wasn't for the people of Citadel City, Americana wouldn't be. Morgan's intentions are far different. She'd rather keep all the resources and the memory of the alien invasion alive to keep reminding the people of the triumphs that have been made to make Americana as great as it is. At this point in the story, I couldn't help but be reminded of 9/11. There are many similarities to that horrific event, and the ones played out in this book felt to me as intentional. It added a deeper emotional element to the story. While Rosemary is looking at the gallery, we get a flashback and we see Rosemary in that suit. But still, what was her purpose? Who was she? Again, Dan DiDio has our minds spinning while we read on. We cut to another scene and we see there is another good deed done by our mystery man. He retrieved that little girl's teddy bear. Again, it appears no one on the ferry noticed him, and he's dripping wet. At this point, you are thinking, okay, is he a good guy or a bad guy doing good things? Yet we carry on. The United States closed its borders after the attack to rebuild and focus all their resources to bringing back this country to greatness. They also kept the alien wreckage in an undersea lab within its borders. We come to find out Morgan also leads the scientists within this lab and is panicked by an emergency situation. While all seems perfect in Americana, there is trouble brewing in the sea below. This is where we meet another main character, First Responder, who has been held in this lab for the past 20 years in a state of coma. They don't know who he is other than the first responder trying to aid people in the attack. But now there is an energy surge and he is waking up. Here it comes, baby! We are now getting our first glimpse at one of the ancient enemies. We see First Responder is taking form. His limbs are regenerating. Energy is building up and he bursts his way free from the lab. He is now on the hunt to find his nemesis and win this war. Our Good Samaritan, who we now know as Michael, is now showing his true colors, as the being inside him named Misak takes over. Surging with energy, he takes flight and blasts off to confront the First Responder. The two race towards each other, calling out Zion Dog and Zolan Scum! They continue toward each other as their energies surge and their powers build, gaining closer and closer until the two meet in a blast that blows a massive chunk in the celestial skyway. This is the bridge that binds Americana and Citadel City. And folks, this is where Dan DiDio leaves us hanging. And now we are thirsty for issue number 2. As I said, this issue is great and there is far more to this than what I can even get into. So do yourself a favor and grab a copy of this book today. And if you've read this book and you like it, or even if you don't like it, I want to hear from you. So please comment below and stay tuned, because I'm going to have my next review episode up for Ancient Enemies number 2.